Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. In this video, we want to explain about what's qualitative research. The member of group is Alyaa Hannifah Meylasari, Salma Hamidah, Ulya Darojat, Kholifah Khoiru Addiniyah, and the last is Devi Rahmawati. The title of this thesis is an analysis on the English teacher strategies in teaching reading comprehension at the 10th grade of SMA Batik 1 Surakarta in the academic year 2022 and 2023. Proposal of thesis submitted as a partial requirement for writing the thesis. English Language Education Study Program, Faculty of Culture and Languages, Raden Masaid State Islamic University of Surakarta 2022. Chapter 1, Introduction. A. Background of the study. Language is a communication tool used by humans to communicate with other people. Without language, it is likely that we will find it difficult to express, cooperate, and get along with other people. So, communication has an important role in human life. One of the international languages that is often used by humans is English. In addition, during school and university, English was the first foreign language taught by teachers or lecturers, and even became a compulsory subject. There are 4 skills that must be understood and mastered by students because they will be part of the teaching and learning process. The 4 skills are writing, reading, speaking, and listening. One of the most important skills is reading. Students will be informed and able to improve their language and knowledge just by reading. The more they read, the more information they get. It can be said that reading is an important skill that must be possessed by students because reading is a process of processing information from text into meaning. Based on the description above, the study is conducted to determine an analysis on the English teacher strategies in teaching reading comprehension at SMA Batik 1 Surakarta. And then in the identification of the problem. Based on this explanation, this study wanted to find a description of the teacher's strategy when teaching to determine students' reading ability. So, what is studied in this research is how the teacher prepares a strategy when inviting reading comprehension to students at SMA Batik 1 Surakarta. And the focus of this research is the teacher at SMA Batik 1 Surakarta.
Next is limitation of the problem. In order to limit the study in such a way that it did not burden and to make it easier in collecting the data, we use teacher strategies technique to teach reading comprehension. In teaching reading comprehension, we choose the 10th grade SMA Batik 1 Surakarta as the sample of the research. Then, formulation of the problem. Based on the background of the study, the problem of the study are: the first one, is there a big influence between the strategies of the English teacher in teaching reading comprehension? And then, how is the flow of the English teacher in applying his strategy in teaching reading comprehension? And the last, what are the obstacles faced by English teacher when implementing their strategies for teaching reading comprehension? And then there is objective of the study. Based on the research question above, the purpose of the research are to know the big influence between the strategies of the English teacher in teaching reading comprehension, and then to find out the flow of the English teacher in applying his strategies in teaching reading comprehension. and then to describe the obstacles of the English teachers when implementing their strategies for teaching reading comprehension. And then there is benefit of the study. The first one is for theoretical benefit. The theoretical benefit is to get a new theory about improving students' learning outcomes in reading comprehension learning through the application of the teacher strategies method in order to add insight in thinking so that it can be used as a basis for acting for educator and the world of education in general. And then there is practical benefit in the word education and then for students and also for schools. The next definition of key terms. To explain the keyword in the study, the researchers would like to present a brief definition, namely, reading comprehension is an interactive process that goes on between the reader and the text, resulting from a comprehension. It means there is a communication that arises between the reader and the text during the reading process. Therefore, students should be able to comprehend and understand the text.
Okay, I will explain about chapter 2, literature review. So in the chapter 2, there are the theoretical review. The first one is teaching strategies. A teaching strategy is the method used to deliver information in the classroom, online, or in some other medium. Teaching strategies is education strategy can be divided as a plain method or series of activities designed to educational achieve a particular goal. And the second is reading comprehension. Smith and Robinson, 1980, state that reading comprehension means the understanding, evaluating, and utilizing of information and ideas gained through an interaction between the reader and the author. And then the third, strategy in teaching reading. The first is pre-reading activities, and then the second is during reading activities, and the last one is post-reading activities. And then number 4, there are strategy of reading comprehension. The first is monitoring comprehension, and the second is metacognition, and the third graphic and semantic organizer. And the fourth is answering questions, and the fifth generating question, and the sixth recognizing story structure, and the last one is summarizing. And number 5, strategy in teaching reading comprehension. The first is scaffolding, and then think aloud, and then reciprocal teaching, and then SQ3R, and the last is QARS. So there are previous study. In the previous study, there are for the first one is the research by Nurjana Jufri, 2018, entitled "Improving the Students' Reading Comprehension Through the Use of Pre-Reading Tasks at the 8th Grade of SMP 4 Belawak, Kabupaten Wajo." And then the second one is the research by Suci Cynthia Putri, 2020, entitled "An Analysis of the Students' Difficulties in Reading Comprehension at MTS Al Mahrus Medan." And then the third is Urfaiza Haris, 2021, from the University of Muhammadiyah Makassar, entitled "The Use Global Method to Improving Reading Comprehension at the 8th Grade of SMP 2 Sungguh Minasa." And then next is Andi Nirwana, 2017, from Universitas Muhammadiyah Makassar entitled Improving Students' Reading Ability Through Reciprocal Teaching Method, a classroom action research at the 8th grade students of SMP PGRI 1 Tamalet Makassar. And then the last one is Masito Nasution, 2019, from North Sumatra Muhammadiyah University, entitled Improving Students' Reading Comprehension of Descriptive Text by Using Rainbow Card and Feedback Strategy.
Chapter 3 Research Methodology. The first, research design. The researcher is descriptive qualitative because this research focuses on a certain teaching learning process in the school environment. In this case, the phenomena is the activity of teaching and learning English. The design consists of two stages, the first observation and the second interview. Observation checklist. The teacher was observed by the researcher using the observation checklist. In this case, the researcher observed whatever done by the English teacher related to the teacher strategy in teaching reading comprehension in the classroom. It was used to investigate the English teaching and learning process in the classroom. Interview. In this case, the researcher used structured interview. The interview was done with the English teacher. The interview was done after finish the teaching and learning process. And next, research setting. The location of this research was at Surakarta because based on the observation at SMA Batik 1 Surakarta and interview to the English teacher and student. The teacher was interviewed on 12 May 2022 and the teacher stated that the teacher applied teaching strategy in teaching learning process especially to teach reading comprehension. And next, research subject. The design consists of two stages, observation and interview. The research subject of observation to the teacher. The researcher observed the class to solve the school condition and interviewed the teacher to get information about the teaching learning process. In the interview, the researcher asked the teacher detailed information about the strategy used in teaching. The data in this research are in the form of written text in the field note, interview transcript, and note. From this data, the researcher could obtain the information about the teacher's strategy in teaching reading comprehension that used by teacher in the SMA Batik 1 Surakarta. And next, data and source of the data. The data collected in this study were obtained through the following source. The first document according to Cooper and Lincoln. A document is any written material or film. Data on curriculum development was collected by reviewing document. The document referred to are related to official document from the Directorate General of General Primary and Secondary Education, including the first special guideline for syllabus development, the second general guideline for syllabus development, and the last master pattern for developing a competency-based curriculum assessment system for senior high school. To obtain complete and diverse information, resource persons are selected in position with various different roles which allow access to information that is owned according to research need. English teacher and their student at the school study were the research person in this study. And next, research instrument. In this research, data sources were derived from the teacher in SMA Bati 1 Surakarta. In this research, the researcher used some technique in collecting data. Those are interview and observation. All of the data were collected in the form of word arrangement. The first observation was a way of collecting data by conducting direct observation of an object in a given period and held a systematic recording of certain things observed. The way to do observation were the first, the researcher prepared the material to conduct the observation such as paper, pen, and camera. And the second, the researcher joined in the classroom. The last, the researcher observed teacher strategy in teaching reading comprehension. This method was used to get any information about the teacher strategy in teaching reading comprehension. And the second instrument is interview, was a meeting of two people to change information and idea through responses, resulting in communication and joint construction of meaning about a particular topic. The interviewer used a set of questions which was developed to gain the specific information.
Technique of collecting the data. Researcher here choose to use in-depth interviews in collecting research data. Questions in in-depth interviews are generally delivered spontaneously. The relationship between the interviewer and interview is a relationship that is built in an ordinary atmosphere, so that the conversation takes place as a daily conversation which is informal. The type of informal interview that is very popularly used as one of the techniques in data collection is in-depth interviewing. This interview was conducted repeatedly on the same informant, with open-ended question, namely question about fact from event or activities and opinion. The main purpose of in-depth interviews is to be able to present contraction of the person in a context regarding individuals, event, activities, feeling, motivation, response, or perception levels and form of involvement and so on. Therefore, in in-depth interviews, the informant can express his opinion, and that opinion can be used as a basis for further research. To get valid interview data so that it can be used as a basis for drawing conclusion, researchers need to do triangulation. The benefit of this triangulation are: first is to correct instrument imperfection, and second, increase the reliability of research result, and the last is developing follow-up question to dig deeper into the data. And the next is truthworthiness of the data, so that the information can be used as research data. Credibility must be tested so that it can be accounted for and used as a starting point for drawing conclusion. The validity of the data in this study was tested through search triangulation, which lead researchers to collect data from a variety of available sources, because the same or similar data will be more stable when extracted from different sources. Reliability in the data in this research is attempted through the implementation of research that can be interpreted with the same research. By trying to achieve reliability, data is expected to minimize errors and deviation or bias in research. Next is technique of analyzing the data. Data analysis interactive model proposed by Mills and Huberman. Data analysis of this interactive model has three components, namely, first is data reduction, second data display, and the last is drawing conclusion or verification. A According to Mills and Huberman, the three components contained in qualitative data analysis must exist in qualitative data analysis because the relationship and interrelationship between the three components need to be continuously compared to determine the direction of the content of conclusion as the final result of the study. First, data reduction. In the first component in qualitative data analysis is data reduction. In data reduction, researchers carry out a selection process, focusing, simplifying, and abstracting from all types of information that support research data obtained and recorded during the data mining process in the field. This reduction process is carried out continuously as long as the research is still ongoing, and its implementation began even the researcher select the case to be studied. Basically, the data reduction process is a qualitative data analysis step that aims to sharpen, classify, direct, clarify, and create focus by removing things that are less important and organizing data in such a way that the narrative of the data presentation can be understood properly and lead to reliable conclusion. Second is data presentation. Second is data display. Data presentation is a collection of information that gives researchers the possibility to draw conclusion and take action. This data presentation is an assembly of information organization in the form of a complete description and narrative, which is complete based on the main findings contained in the data reduction, and is presented using the researcher logical and systematic language so that it's easy to understand. The presentation of data in qualitative research is generally delivered in form of a narrative, which is equipped with metrics, picture, graphs, network, chart, tables, schematic, illustration, and so on, so that the data presented for analysis preparation looks clear, detailed, and stable and easy to understand. This data presentation is arranged systematically according to the core themes so that it is easy to understand the interaction between the parts in complete context, not separated from one another. The purpose of displaying data or presenting this data is to answer research problems through the data analysis process. For this purpose, data presentation need to be packaged in a systematic form in order to assist researcher in conducting the analysis process. Through an understanding of the presentation of this data, researchers can perform data analysis to be able to formulate the findings in the study and put forward the final conclusion of the study. And the last is drawing conclusion or verification. Meaning is important in qualitative research. Researchers must try to find meaning based on the data that has been dug carefully, completely, and deeply. How to draw conclusion to get the meaning of the event studied needs to be considered carefully. Drawing conclusion is an activity or interpreting the result of data analysis interpretation. Drawing this conclusion is only one of the activities in complete configuration. The conclusion of the research should be in accordance with the following point. First is the theme or topic and title of the research. Second, research objective. Third is problem solving. Fourth is the data in the study. And the next is findings from the result of data analysis in research. And the last is relevant theory or science.